Hey friend, welcome to my series, The Reseller's Truth, where I'll be talking good, bad, and ugly about all my adventures in reselling, the mistakes I made, and the good things that I've done. Stay tuned. Hey friend, so last week I started talking about my reseller truth, and I asked you in the video if you wanted to hear and see more, and the answer was yes. So today I want to continue to share a few of my challenges that I experienced in the beginning of my reselling. Last week I talked about how I got started reselling because I wanted to spend time with my husband. Absolute truth. I'll tell that story forever because it is, and it's just beautiful. I love spending time with him. I love going out and that kind of stuff. And how I didn't source in the beginning. And truly, I didn't. How I was sending items out for little money. How I was not packaging my items correctly. So today, I want to talk about when I first started selling on Poshmark a little bit more. So, when I started selling in early 2016, I opened up my Poshmark store in April 2016. Again, I was getting items for my husband who was not into women's clothes, and I only knew a little bit about women's fashions. Of course, I'm a woman, so I didn't want to delve into men or anything like that. And at the time, Poshmark was not selling. You could not sell men or children's items anyway. That happened later in the same year. So he would bring me stuff vintage, all kinds of like stuff. A lot of Alfred Dunner for some reason. So I had a lot of plus items, but some of the stuff was like really, really like old. A lot of stuff still had new with tags, but it was things that, you know, that's why they were at the bins, because people were probably going through the houses and getting rid of these items. But I literally, some things I would look at and say, yeah, I can't take them. But for the majority, at least 95% of the items that Thomas gave me, I put those up for sale. Not smart decision. The reason that they were selling for me is because, again, the prices weren't high. $5 for pants, $6 for this. If it was a sweater, maybe a little bit more. So if you take pictures from the Poshmark app, there are filters. I was not at the time taking photos and then listing the photos that were on my phone. I was literally listing on the app. And the funny thing is, my husband still does that. And I'm pretty sure people still do that. But now I like to put my photos in the photo gallery and adjust the photos by using an app, PicTag or something like that, which we didn't have in 2016. So I literally would take a couple photos, and back then when I started, it was only 4 photos. They didn't allow you to take 8. They added that later on, 4 photos. So you had to get the best photo that you could in 4 photos. So I would use the Poshmark filters. Yes, I'm guilty of that. The dark filters, which I thought were cute, which had that illuminating color around it. Take my photos and the best 4 photos I can get, and I would use those in my photo. Now, my bedroom was my office because I didn't have an office like I do now. That was my space, so I did everything in my bedroom. I had a hook on the back of my door. Take my photos. Now, this is the other thing. I was not steaming. Now, mind you, my husband had a steamer, a professional steamer that was sitting in the basement that he never used. I didn't know he had it. Mind you, Thomas and I have only been married for 8 years. He's MacGyver because he owns everything. Like literally, he's got me out of some jams. Before we got married and before I moved, there were some challenges I had. You ask him for it, he has it. That's how our basement looks. Not knowing that he had a great steamer, and I was like, I'm not ironing nothing because I was working a job. I didn't have time for that. I only took photos. That's the other thing. I only took photos on the weekend. I could not list during the week because I was tired. I wasn't running a business. Remember, it was a hobby. So on Saturday and Sunday, that's when I would take all my photos and I would list. And then I was a lunch lady, so the days that I was off, I would also use those days as time to do some stuff for Poshmark. And that was it. So, one, I had filtery pictures. A lot of my stuff was not ironed. When I say My stuff was not iron. It was so wrinkly. Crazy. Take a picture and I listed wrinkly clothes with a foggy filter. Seriously, I would not lie to you. The whole picture there, I didn't use any type of square, so the picture would be like right up here like that, and you had to figure out the details on your own as a buyer. I'm surprised that people were buying my things, but I think it definitely was the price point. So it was crazy in the beginning. I used direct sunlight, natural light. I didn't have a fancy camera. I had back then in 2016, I had, like, I think it was an LG Android camera phone, which is nothing wrong with that because I really wasn't into any Apple products. If Thomas didn't buy me an iPhone, I probably wouldn't have one today just because they're so pricey. But that was the beginning for me. I didn't have any fancy packaging. I still don't. This is before I even got into placing my items into a plastic bag. And remember what I was telling you. I came from a handmade background where I would make a hat. Just give you an example. I could take a hat, fold it down, and slip it into a 9x6, or sorry, a 6x9 poly mailer. And this would be it. I didn't have to put it inside of anything. It would go into the poly mailer just like that. And I did, for my handmade business, have handmade thank you cards, but that was it. So the reselling thing, I had to figure out from the beginning. My pride was high. I didn't ask my husband what he was doing or how to do anything. But now when I look at it, I was watching him yesterday. He doesn't do anything fancy either. Yesterday I watched him box up a pair of shoes. He stuck them into like an envelope or something and then stuck it inside the box. No thank you card or anything like that. So hey, and his prices are good. He's been in business for quite a long time, so nothing fancy. But I want to let you know that everyone starts at the beginning. Seriously. I I I because I started at the beginning and I made so many mistakes and I learned from the beginning and I also educated myself, I don't judge anyone. It bothers me sometimes that a lot of judgment comes into play with we as sellers now who started from the beginning. And I'm going to say this all the time. My goal is not to hurt anyone's feelings, but it is to bring light and to help us remember who we are and where we started. Yes, we want to make money. It's nothing wrong with that. I want to make money now too. I've grown and I've changed a lot of things in my business, but I had to learn and grow. And I also had to make the decision if I wanted to be a serious seller. We have to remember not everyone is trying to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish. And I'm going to continue to say that also. I see so many people like, why are people charging this and why? And I look back from when I was doing it. And that's why I'm not afraid to say, look, I was that person. I wasn't trying to be full time, until I decided I could do it and I wanted to do it. But I was really happy with making enough money to do a couple things for myself because I was making good money on my job. I had benefits. Thomas didn't need anything from me. So to be able to put money on my daughter's account after being like a really broke single mom with my children eating, free lunch for years. And when my daughter went to this really nice school, I was able to put money and she could eat whatever she wanted for lunch. She could buy a Snapple if she wanted to or an apple juice. She didn't have to stick to the standard lunch. And especially since I was a lunch lady, I knew that. So for me, it was all hobby. And so now, almost 4 years later, to be 4 years in April, that I've been selling, on more than one platform, that I understand the difference between a person who just wants to sell, who has found a platform that someone told them about, that they can sell some stuff. They're not in business, so we should not be quick to judge them. If someone judged me, I wouldn't care because I know who I am and I know what I was trying to accomplish then and I know what I'm trying to accomplish now. And the person now is even more sympathetic, more empathetic, and more giving and loving to the person who's struggling. People contact me often and I'm open to, giving them my experience. I have nothing to hold back. So I from these reseller truth videos, I want you to know that we're no more special than anyone else. We're all special. We're all special. We're all born, we live, and we die. And as long as we remember that, then we treat everyone the same, regardless of how people are treating us. Now, you're not gonna let anybody hit you or do anything crazy, because I draw the line, especially when it's specific words that you throw my way. But for the most part, I treat everyone the same. I treat my family the same way that I would treat anyone else, and the way that I treat them is showing respect and love. And it makes it so much easier, and then you don't have to pretend or anything. So just remember that we all started from somewhere. My name is Leslie Tucker, and this is my Reseller Truth. Thanks for watching, friends.